All right, so without further ado, I will kick us off and I want to be conscious of everyone's time. So hello, welcome again. If I haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, my name is Emily Foster and I'm the director of IHAF. And I'm so excited that you were able to carve out some time in your busy schedules to join us today for optimizing your membership. This webinar is really all about you, and our goal with it is to hope that you'll leave today's session with a deeper understanding of your membership and how you and your team can take advantage of it. Or if you're listening in and you're considering joining, that you'll better understand what you would get out of an IHAF membership if you were to join our community. We kind of think of it as a personal training session of sorts to better set you up and hopefully your team up for the year and maximizing what is available to you through IHAF. So just to quickly talk about what we're going to try to cover in the next hour, or maybe a little bit less, we'll start with an overview of IHAF and then get into the parts and pieces of your membership. From there, we'll take a look at what's kind of coming and what's on deck in 2024. And of course, there'll be time for questions if you have any at the end of the webinar. Now, if you aren't familiar with Zoom webinar, you can submit questions at any time on the little Zoom toolbar. You should see a Q&A button. Feel free to send those in as you think of them throughout the session. And I'll be leaving time at the end to field those. So feel free to send them in whenever or at the end when we have that time for Q&A. Now, for those of you who may be very new to our organization, or again, maybe not yet joined, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is IHAF? So we have a little bit of a single slide history lesson to share with you. IHAF was born in 2005, really out of the idea that in-house agencies didn't have a professional network of their own at that time. One that was providing content and really helping to cultivate community to enhance the influence and impact that corporate creative teams had within their own organizations. What emerged from that seed of an idea was not only a forum to allow our members to connect and share with one another for learning purposes and to be able to have a place, a destination within IHAF where they could find content relevant to their teams. But what also emerged was a highly connected and really supportive peer community that still exists within IHAF today. From there, we embarked on crafting a very deliberate mission, which has kind of morphed, as you might imagine, over the years. But really, our goal with this mission is to help enable the success of the in-house agency community, particularly those who are part of IHAF who belong to our membership. And we do this by focusing on three things: thought leadership, industry insights, and online and in-person networking. So we'll get into all that in just a little bit. But simply put, IHAF is a trade organization comprised of in-house agencies, and our job on the IHAF team is to help enable the success of your job. Now, you may be familiar with who makes up the IHAF community if you've been around for a while, but this is just a snapshot of the types of companies who are part of the IHAF membership today. You can see it really runs a gamut in terms of industries, with more than 250 companies that are members of our community at this time. And if that's not enough, the number is always growing and changing, and we're welcoming new members who are joining IHAF on a regular basis. This is just a snapshot of some of the companies who have joined in just the past few months, and some who are on with us today. So welcome to all of you, and thanks so much for being an active part of our community. Now, as you might imagine, as more and more companies join IHAF, our membership grows, but also that means the network of companies that you now have access to grows as well. So if you're curious who else is within this community, who else is a part of IHAF along with your team, you can see the full member list under the members tab in IHAF's main navigation bar on the IHAF website. So again, if you're a member, you can access that. And actually as a member, it acts more of a member directory, which again, I'll touch on in just a bit. If you're not yet a member, you can still see that alpha list of who's a part of our community today. Now, as many of you know, the in-house model has been in place at corporations for many, many years. However, 43% of in-house agencies were actually just formed within the past decade. And based on our latest benchmarking study, the report we released, our State of the Industry in 2023, those teams are continuing to grow, with 50% adding to their headcount in just the past 2 years. Now, even with that growth, the majority of teams are under 25 people. And we also saw in the 2023 data set that 57% reporting that they feel that their in-house agency is not quite staffed to meet the demand of the business. And while that is a high percentage, I'm sure it sounds high, there's actually been a 25% increase in those who feel their in-house agency is adequately staffed since we asked this question in 2018. So some good news there. Again, although the number is higher than any of us would like to see, there has been growth on the side of the teams that feel like they are better staffed today. And it's possible that folks might be feeling like that due to the fact that 71% of in-house teams reported that the number of projects increased in 2023. So if you're feeling like your team has a lot on your plate right now, or a lot kind of scheduled in the year to come, you're certainly not alone. And if any of this is new information to you and you haven't looked at our 2023 State of the Industry report just yet, definitely encourage you to head over to our Research and Resources tab later today on the IHAF website and download the report, where again, you can find all of our benchmarking data. But these kind of key stats I just shared with you are from our 2023 report. I'll also say, before we get into the content on your membership, if you are interested in having a hard copy of this report, we do have some at the IHAF office, and we'd be glad to mail you a copy or a couple of copies if you'd prefer to read it in physical form versus digitally. So we're happy to provide that. Just shoot us a note after the webinar and we can send something over to you. Okay, so while I do like to kick us off on these webinars always by sharing some recent data and kind of level setting a little bit, I'll now kind of shift gears and really want to start by focusing on the groups that comprise the IHAF community. And I'll do that by starting first with the folks who are working oftentimes behind the scenes on your behalf here at IHAF. And that, of course, is the IHAF program team. So as you might imagine, as I shared the mission and why we exist here at IHAF, my team is responsible for fielding our research, issuing those benchmarking reports, planning our programs and events, both virtual and in person, and managing all of your member benefits and communications throughout the year that you should be receiving from us. I always pause here and talk about those communications, and I'll do a little bit of a recap of them at the end of today's call as well. But I do want to mention, if you are a new member or a longtime member, and if you can sit here and think back, when was the last time you saw an email from IHAF in your inbox, and it hasn't been a while, let us know. There's, as you know, always spam filters and things like that changing within corporations. And sometimes we find out that our members aren't hearing from us. They don't know what events are happening, or what things are, new pieces of content we're publishing, what benchmarking surveys or reports that we're releasing. So after today's call as well, give some thought to that. Let our team know if you haven't been hearing from us on a regular basis. We can help look into that with you to figure out how we can solve for that, to make sure your team knows what's happening. Otherwise, you certainly won't have an easy time this year optimizing your membership if you're not fully aware of what's going on here at IHAF. But that is the IHAF programs team's job, is to keep you informed about all things IHAF and make sure that we're available to help support you and your team throughout the year and throughout your membership. Here's kind of your front line of IHAF team members who you should know, and you should also be mindful of, that you may hear from on a regular basis in your inbox. So there I am. As I mentioned, I'm the director of IHAF, so I'm overseeing the team, our events, our offerings, our content, and IHAF member relationships as well. You'll have plenty of contact, and probably have already, and definitely recently before today's webinar, with my colleague Hollis. She works closely with our members on their renewals and also on a lot of their membership benefits, but in particular really focuses on our events and awards programs. And also Catherine is one of our program coordinators, and she'll act as your support person in a variety of ways throughout the year. So any of us are available whenever you need us, and available to help. And we'll also point you in the direction of the right person if we're not that person, but feel free to reach out to any one of us anytime throughout the year, anytime throughout your membership, so that we can ensure we're supporting you and your team as best as possible. We also have our suppliers and sponsors who are a critical part of the success of our community. As with many organizations or events and trade associations that you may be a part of, sponsors and suppliers help obviously to provide financial support to our events and programming throughout the year, but they really are a small group of companies that we like to refer to as preferred partners, because they do provide a range of goods and services to in-house agencies. They work with many IHAF members, and the IHAF team has met and connected with all of them to make sure that they are a good partner and good fit for our community. So these folks are involved in IHAF because they are committed to the success of the in-house community and do have a lot to offer. So I hope that if you have an upcoming need, you will consider working with one of them, or at least looking at the member directory as kind of a first step when you're looking for a new partner, because you can learn more about these supplier members within the member directory. So here's a list of current folks who are involved, and they are a small percentage of the community. It is actually part of our bylaws that we're managing that percentage, so that this group never over exceeds 20% of the overall community. So that is really important to us to keep that balance, and make sure that the folks who are involved as supplier members are really great partners and the right fit for IHAF and the in-house community and the members who we support. And finally, there's all of you, or most of you, again, and maybe some future members on the call as well. But in-house agency members are the largest and, of course, the most important part of IHAF. You are absolutely the reason that we exist. In fact, we depend on your input to enhance our programming and our member benefits year over year. Your interests, your needs, and really your participation is what helps make IHAF and our community really valuable for other members and really meaningful for you and your team. The more you participate, the stronger IHAF and the in-house community will be, and certainly the more you'll get out of your membership. And being on today's call is a great first step to that. So before we dive deeper into the parts and pieces of your membership, I'm going to do a very quick overview of how to access all of what I'm going to take you through. So I'm going to be talking about our content and events and a lot of things that you'll use the IHAF website and your member credentials as your gateway to a lot of this. So I want to make sure that everyone knows how to get to the places you need to get to on the IHAF website. Again, I'll do it quickly, but it is a question we get often on the IHAF team. So again, what's most important to know, everything I'm going to take you through in just a minute is available to IHAF members only. So there is password protected content that you'll find on the IHAF website, and also to receive benefits like member pricing on events or awards, or attend our events for free. You will need to make sure that you're logged in to do that. So when you visit the IHAF homepage, you should see a login button in the upper right-hand corner. And if you click on that, you'll be brought to your account login page. And if you are logged in on, or you're using rather your primary computer and you're able to check stay logged in, always recommend that, so that when you're clicking a link from an email or popping onto the IHAF website for something very quickly, you don't have to remember to log in and you can remain logged in. But this is where you're putting in your username or your email address and the password that you've set for your profile. If you forgot this password, you can follow this forgot your password prompt, which will allow you to update those credentials, or you can always send in a contact form or call the IHAF team, and we can certainly help you over the phone or over email to reset those credentials for you. Now, once you are logged in, you'll see the upper right-hand corner. This is Hollis's profile. It should say hi, your name. It won't always say hi, Hollis, but hi, your name. And if you click on that, that's going to bring you to your profile information page. Now, for individual members, if you're just a part of the membership team and you don't have company information access on the profile side, this is where you'll update your username and password and things like that. So you won't see as much as I'm about to show here, but you'll always be able to edit your credentials. However, our primary members, so folks who are kind of the IHAF membership gatekeeper, usually the person who signed up for membership and manages your renewal, you should have access to add team members or remove team members that you need to, or change your in-house agency's profile information as well. Keeping this section and your profile information up to date is super important because it helps IHAF members learn who you are, what you do, and it really facilitates networking within our member community. So if this is something that, as I'm talking about it, you're realizing you may not have seen in a long time, or maybe ever since you joined and since you filled out your application was fed into this profile, but we know capabilities and team sizes are changing all the time. So please try to carve out some time where you can update this. And as always, if you have questions or trouble doing so, please reach out to the IHAF team and we'll help you. So now that we all know how to log in, I'm going to now shift into talking about our benefits and our resources that are available to you and your entire team throughout the year. Now, as we touched on earlier, our member benefits fall into 3 categories: benchmarking data and best practices, conferences and events, and online and in-person networking. And I'm going to go through each one by one, starting first with our benchmarking data and best practices. So I touched on this already a little bit earlier, as I shared with you some data from our 2023 State of the Industry report. But each year, usually in early to mid-November, IHAF is publishing and releasing our annual benchmarking study, which is capturing in-house agency trends on an annual basis, and also using comparative data, as we've now almost for 20 years been serving in-house agencies. Oftentimes our members are telling us this is one of the most compelling benefits that we offer, and one of the most unique, because we have that long-standing library and comparative data to use. But it allows you this exclusive access to use research and use that to enable your in-house team to benchmark your operations against others, to understand how your team looks and operates in comparison to the majority or average in the in-house community. Many of our members are using this to understand how their other in-house agencies are organized, or the number of projects they're managing, what systems they may be using, and using that to better understand their own team, but also maybe to create cases or share that internally with their clients and partners as an education opportunity as well. But all of the data that we're gathering comes from and really is relevant to the business of running an in-house agency. And again, it's only available through an IHAF membership. You can find all of our research, our annual research reports, in the research and resources section of the IHAF website, which you can get to right from our main navigation bar on the homepage. From there, you'll see an in this section drop-down menu with benchmarking data at the top, or you'll see it on the main page, and you can look at categories that we have data, or you can just go and see all of our data in listed in order of release date. So again, we're releasing this annually, so you will just see the 2023 report until next fall. But you can go back, at least a couple of years maybe, and see some of the other topical studies, since the questions we're asking do change each and every year. In addition to our research, this resources section of the IHAF site gives you access to a ton of other useful content, like Industry Insights, which is offering perspective from other teams and in-house agency leaders. You'll find how-to tips on there too, which is more instructional content, helping your team evolve everyday competencies or some of your operating practices. And under tools and templates, there's sample org charts and job descriptions, and even creative brief templates, a few different creative brief templates that I know our members have always taken advantage of. Another resource which you'll find in this section of the IHAF website is our podcast, Inside Jobs, that we produce in partnership with EKCS, a longtime IHAF member and sponsor. We have probably interviewed, at this point, over 40, I think, in-house agency leaders and industry experts. And so this is something that you can access from the IHAF website. Of course, you can listen to on all your favorite listening platforms, but a really great way to connect in a different way with other IHAF members, learn more about their background, their experiences, and their in-house agencies through these episodes. We're about to start releasing our 2024 episodes, so please look out for those. But like it says here, you can subscribe on any of your favorite listening platforms to get access to Inside Jobs. Another resource that's available to IHAF members, which is really a great way for your team to learn more about your client relationships, is the IHAF Performance Evaluator. This is an online survey that enables you to solicit feedback from any of your internal business partners or clients regarding your in-house team's performance. Essentially really using it to measure the satisfaction of your internal base of clients. This isn't meant to be a project survey. We actually have a lot of members who have project surveys that they do on a regular basis, but they may do something like the IHAF Performance Evaluator once a year or twice a year as more of those key touch points to better understand the relationship, where the relationship stands, use it to build goals and KPIs, and use it as a conversation starter to meet with your clients and go through the feedback and maybe talk about things that need changing on either side of the house. So if you haven't already, I really encourage you to take advantage of this, or at least look into the Performance Evaluator, because it is a free member benefit and it can provide so much value to you and your team. You can access that also from our main navigation bar, so right at the top here of the website. And from there, you'll be brought to this form where you'll request your customized performance evaluator from our team. You'll just fill it out and pick your kind of assessment areas, click submit, and then from there, the IHAF team will be in touch with you with a custom link for you to distribute to your internal clients. So we don't want to be sharing data with your organization. So instead, we're providing the link to you. It's coming from your team to your clients. And then when you're ready to close it, we are closing it, the survey, and aggregating the results for you into a single report that then we'll send over to you for you and your team to digest. And again, possibly even using to sit down with your clients and go through the data together. So that part of it is done by the IHAF team. It's just the distribution part that we ask for our members to handle. Here's just a quick look at what some other in-house teams are saying about the value of using the IHAF Performance Evaluator. Obviously, we're at the start of the year here, so it's a great time to use this survey if you don't have something like it, or if you're not surveying your clients regularly, and to look over the assessment areas and get a preview of the survey so you can start to think about how you might use it. Maybe it's great mid-year if right now is a busy time for you and your team, but it just is something that we really encourage our members to at least consider using, especially if they don't have anything in place right now, because it's a great way to continue to evolve and grow your team and just better understand your client relationships. And again, no additional cost for members to be taking advantage of this. Just like everything in our library, everything I've talked about so far, it's included in your membership. So there's no additional fees to take advantage of any of these resources. All right, so next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about IHAF conferences and events that we have. At IHAF, we offer 3 different types of events. And our first that I'll talk about is our monthly webinars, which of course you're all well aware of since you're joining one today. But they are not all about IHAF and all about your IHAF membership. So throughout the year, we host a variety of webinars, sometimes presented by in-house agencies, whether they're offering kind of practical advice on something that they've recently changed, or something new they've done within their team that's worked really well, or a new technology that they've started utilizing. And sometimes we're hearing from subject matter experts, so folks within the in-house community and in the advertising and marketing community, but not always folks from in-house agencies. So there's definitely a variety of content that you'll see presented at IHAF webinars throughout the year. And these are certainly worth the time for you and your team because they are also free for IHAF members to attend. So they're a great way to make sure that a wide range of folks within the team can plug into IHAF content, since we know that, something like the benchmarking data might not be relevant to every single individual contributor on your team, but the webinars are where you're going to see more and more value, I think, for a wider range of folks. So it's definitely something that I encourage all of you to continue to remain aware of throughout the year, and hopefully take advantage of attending as many as you can. Next up are our regional events. So you may remember, if you've been around for a while or in a past life, IHOP's regional events as our in-house agency roundtables. However, this year, IHOP is going to come to you in a whole new way. We will be hosting these regional events again, and we will continue to, because it's really important that we come out and host these events in different metros throughout the country. But this year, they'll be a little bit different. The intent of the sessions will still be to bring local IHOP members together to network and share with one another. They may not all be identical events like the roundtables were in a way, but they will be sure to create connections, offer content or learning, and begin to form relationships within local member companies. The relationships we hope are easier to keep maybe than something virtual, folks that may be right down the road from you that you and your team can continue to connect with or see and visit throughout the year. So next month, we'll start announcing where these will be, the dates, and open them for registration. So please be on the lookout for that. We're excited to come out to a variety of cities in the US and in Canada this year. And if you're interested, we're already in planning for sure on these, but if you're interested in hosting one of them and we haven't been in touch, let us know. We're always looking to work with our members who want to have folks on site and want to bring people into their office. So definitely let us know, and we can always let you know if we already have one kind of in the works in your metro. Now, our largest type of event is our conferences that we host, which take on a couple of different forms. So each spring we have the IHOP Leadership Summit. That's a one-day conference. It's also hosted by a member company, and it features leaders from some of the most high-performing teams within the IHOP community. In November, we have our biggest annual event of the year, and that's held in Boston every year. So the Leadership Summit is actually another event that does move, and we're in different metros every year. But the IHOP Conference and Awards we host here in Boston. And this is a two-day conference. It is thematic, so we have a specific theme for the conference every year. And then we feature different keynote speakers. We have breakout sessions, a wide range of different content, all kind of centered around that single theme, based on what's relevant to in-house teams at that time. And what we're hearing from our members are maybe challenges that they're facing that we think a specific theme can help solve. In addition to these sessions and speakers that are a big part of obviously the November conference, we also have a lot of fun and celebratory things happening at the IHOP Conference and Awards. And that's through the IHOP Awards, and specifically the In-House Creativity Awards, which recognizes creative excellence among in-house agencies. We have, I think, over 40 categories now as a part of the In-House Creativity Awards. I know it says 38 here, but last year we made a little bit of a change, which pushed us a little bit over that, and we'll continue to update those categories each and every year. So we announce winners in each category, and also our coveted Best of Show award is given to one team at the end of the evening. The call for entries for this runs from April 1st through mid-July. And our creativity awards, for those who may not have entered them in the past, are really a great way to visually benchmark the work that you're doing with other in-house agencies. Of course, there's so many award shows out there, and more that offer awards for in-house agencies, but the In-House Creativity Awards is all in-house agencies and all of their work in each category. So it may be a little bit different from if there's other places that you and your team might be submitting work each year. And every year, our members, I think, find so much inspiration in seeing the work that other teams are producing and submitting as a part of our awards. If you want to take a look at what the awards are all about, both the in-person event and also look at winning reels from past years, you can head over to the IHOP YouTube channel just by searching IHOP or In-House Agency Forum in the search bar, and you'll see a variety of videos that, again, give you a feel for the event, but also take a look at some of the past winning work on there as well. Now, the second type of award that I touched on that's also announced at our annual conference is the In-House Agency of the Year Award. This also opens for call for nominations on April 1st, but this award has a deadline of August 31st, so a little bit more time to submit for In-House Agency of the Year. We certainly encourage in-house agencies of all shapes and sizes to enter. It doesn't matter if you're a large team, a big team, a bigger business or a smaller business. It's really about sharing your story of growth or change or development based on an entry prompt that we offer every year, which is a single question, and we ask folks to submit a written response and also a video component as well. And then at the IVE conference, we announced 2 finalists and the winner for In-House Agency of the Year. To read more about both of these competitions, and again, past winners for the Creativity Awards are also on the site, and then In-House Agency of the Year, you can read about the winners and finalists from all the past years since we started this award, which is really a nice way to learn about, again, some of those high-performing teams within the in-house community. Now, beyond in-person and virtual events that are happening in real time, we try to record as much content as possible because we know not everybody has the budget to attend events, and we know not everyone can make, for example, every webinar, even though it's free, based on their schedule. So there is a lot of recorded content housed within, actually, it's within our research and resources section, but coming out of our events, we're publishing as much recorded content as we can for our members. So this is an archive of video content that is really a great thing for you and your team to leverage, not only on your own to learn about various topics or different teams, but it's a fun way to do a lunch and learn or kind of pull different pieces of recorded content into maybe an all hands meeting that you're having on a given day. But it's something that I know a lot of our members find value in, whether one person can be there in real time or not. It's a great way to extend the life of that content, bring it into your team, because of course, the conference, for example, just wrapped in November. There's so much content on there that's brand new, but there's content that's a couple years old that's still really relevant, especially those that allow you to learn more about different teams and what they're up to. Even though, again, it's a little bit older, there's some great lessons that can be learned from some of that content as well. So this is always being updated following events. So I really encourage you and your team to spend time here, whether you're looking for something on a specific topic or simply looking to just check out kind of what we have shared at past events within the IHAF community. Okay, so with beyond conferences events, the last thing I want to spend some time on is networking. And if you remember in my history lesson at the beginning, the community that IHAF provides and the network of people that you have access to as an IHAF member is such an invaluable part of your membership, and possibly for a lot of people where they find the most value in connecting with other members and learning from them, their experiences, things that they've done that have impacted their team positively or negatively, and allowing those folks to learn from not their mistakes necessarily, but things that they've done where there's might be a pothole that they could look out for when they're embarking on doing the same thing. So the network that's available to you is an incredible one of folks who are so open and honest and really, really love to share. And so I want to take you through how you can take advantage of that. Like I mentioned earlier, the member list is available on the website as an alpha list of members, but for current IHAF members who are logged in, it acts as a directory. So that's where you can go. It's in the main navigation bar of the IHAF website, click on members, and you can filter based on team size or industry or location or capability. And maybe that's a way you can figure out who are a couple of teams that you're interested in learning more about. Maybe there's a recorded session about their team, but also maybe that's a chance for you to pick up the phone, call the IHAF team, and we can help to make that connection, which I'll talk about in just a second. But this is how folks are finding you within the IHAF community, and also how you can find other teams that you might want to connect with. Now, when it comes to creating exchanges with those members, the IHAF team is here to help with that. So we are always making introductions for members who are curious to talk about a specific topic, whether they are evaluating digital asset management systems, or they're streamlining workflow, or they're building out a new capability. They may come to us and ask us, who do you know that has done this? And we'll help to make those connections. So the I Have Member Exchange is all about connecting members and allowing them to exchange experiences, ideas, and information with one another. So all you have to do is reach out to the iHave team, or you can use the directory as a way to learn, but let us know, who are you curious to meet? Who are you interested in talking to? What are you interested in talking about? And we will help to make as many connections for you as possible, because again, this happens really organically at many events, and at iHave in-person events for sure, but we can help to make those connections anytime throughout the year. There's a couple other ways that you can do it as well, which I'll touch on, but this is a great benefit to just being a member. If you did nothing else, but you made a dozen new connections this year, I promise you'd find incredible value in your iHave membership and within the community. Now, we also have member meetups, which is a great way to do this. So maybe you don't have a specific person you want to talk to or a specific topic, but you do have a goal this year of making new relationships, making more connections. iHave member meetups can help you do that. So this is a member benefit only for in-house agency members. So it is closed to suppliers or sponsors. They are not actually eligible to participate in these. But for our in-house agency members, our member meetups kind of offer a regular cadence of checking in. So again, you may once in a while ask us to make a connection for you, or you may attend an event and make some great relationships there, but what do you do in the interim? And so that is, where the member meetups come in. And by attending these, you can get to know other members. Maybe you hear someone mention something and you want to have a follow-up call with them. There's definitely been times where we've kind of broken out into smaller groups and had follow-up calls from some of these meetups. But this year, this is only our second year actually with this benefit in place, but this year we're approaching it kind of in a two-tier model, where half of the member meetups are going to be general meetups. We actually just had one on Tuesday. And those are just open forum, submit topics in advance or bring topics to the session, and we'll talk about them within the group. And then the other half of them are actually going to be specific to sometimes topics, but you'll see here the next meetup on February 6th is actually for smaller teams. So we're defining a smaller team as 25 people or fewer. So those are going to change. You can see on the program calendar, there's a variety already scheduled for the first half of the year. But we definitely encourage you to pre-register for these and plan to attend as many as you can, because it's a great way to kind of earmark some time on your calendar for making connections and reaching out to the iHave community on a regular basis. We also have the iHave LinkedIn group, and this is another way, in a digital sense, if you will, you can connect with the iHave community. So if you are on LinkedIn and you search iHave in the search bar, you should easily be able to find the iHave LinkedIn group. And if you're not a part of it yet, I really encourage you to request to join after today's webinar. And from there, you can post questions, ask for recommendations or referrals on certain topics. And again, go through and maybe comment on some recent posts from other members. Of course, we are always encouraging our members to ask as many questions and reach out to the community. It's also really important that our members are willing to answer questions and share their advice and experience as well. And so this is another way to do that on a regular basis. Outside of reaching out to the iHave team or attending a meetup, you can always post a question in the iHave LinkedIn group. Now, with that, I want to talk a little bit about how to find our upcoming events. I just talked about the meetups and webinars and things that are coming up just around the corner. So I want to talk about how do you find out about these things and register, and then talk a little bit about how often and how, or what rather, you should hear from the iHave team on a regular basis. So hopefully you've all seen this page since you registered for today's event, but this is our program calendar. It's under events and competitions on the iHave website. And this is where you can find all of our webinars, regional events once they're published, conferences, summits, member meetups, anything you need to register for will be hosted on this page. And if it's happening within 2 to 3 months, we do plan to have registration open at that time. So you may see some save the dates as well, but most events that you'll see published there for the first half of the year so far are already open for registration. And then you can click on each page and learn about topics and speakers and locations and things of that nature. In addition to just self-serving and go to that page and finding out what's coming, you should also be getting the What's Happening at iHave email that comes out twice a month. So this is like again, going back to what I said at the beginning, this is a good time to pause and think about, have I seen this email in the past? Does this look familiar to me? If you haven't, let's connect to make sure that our emails are getting to you and your team so that you know what's happening. We don't want to ask you to go to the IF website and find everything on your own. This is the way twice a month we're reaching out to remind you what webinars or meetups or conferences are happening, and then also reminding you of new content that's being published on the website. So this is kind of a one-stop shop to get reminders from IHAF on that regular cadence, so that you know what you should be taking advantage of. And speaking of email, this is kind of a list of the types of emails you'll hear from us on. We know that there are so many emails hitting your inbox every day, not even ones from organizations like us, because we know there's a lot there, but also from your team and from your clients. So we do not want to inundate you. We really want to be intentional about when we're reaching out and why. Our only daily email is the IHAF brief. That's a compilation of headlines in marketing or advertising and news stories. So that's your daily email that's coming every day from IHAF. You can segment yourself out of that if that's too much. And you can only hear from us on content and events and outside of the daily brief email. But these are the types of things you'll hear from us on. Of course, most of it is just reminders of events and content. But two things I want to shout out and make sure that you're paying attention to are survey requests. So whether that's benchmarking data or when we annually ask for your feedback, really, really important for us, obviously, but also for the community that you take time to respond to those, and the LinkedIn group alerts. So when there's new posts in the LinkedIn group, we're also trying to send that email about twice a month, depending on the level of activity there. And that's to remind you of what people are asking, bringing that right to your inbox, because I know it's not super easy always on LinkedIn to find those groups and what people are posting. But again, those are two ways that when we're reaching out to you, asking kind of for you to give back to the community, we hope that you are able to carve out the time and do so. So all this to say, when it comes to the value that your IHAF membership delivers, we have what sounds like a little bit of a silly analogy, but it is a lot like a gym membership. You cannot just join. That's simply not enough. To get the most out of your membership with IF, we do ask for you to participate. Tell us what you need, reach out to us, read our field studies and the data and the content that's available, attend our events, and connect with other members, reaching out to people, whether you have a need or they have a need and it's something you can help with. But taking advantage of your IF membership, which I know is important to all of you, that's why you're here today, is what is going to lead you to feeling like you're getting value back from the IHAF community. And I wanted to leave you with a little bit, very brief checklist on just from today's session, what can you do next? Like, what next? I attended this. I learned hopefully something about IHAF that I didn't know before, but what can I go and do to make sure that I continue my involvement beyond today's webinar? So again, I just talked about a LinkedIn group. Go and join it if you're not a part of it. Register for one of our member meetups. First half of the year are booked, open for registration. Register for all of them if you want, but register for at least one of them. Sign up for another IHAF webinar. We have some great ones happening in Q1. Go check out the content library and download one piece of content and carve out 15 minutes to read it or watch it. Mark your calendar for IF award season so that you and your team can celebrate the great work that you're doing. And remind your team to get involved. I know there's a lot of people on here representing their team today, but reminding everyone else on your team the importance of your membership and what they can do based on hopefully what you've learned today is so important and will provide so much value for your colleagues to learn more. So with that, I will open for questions. I will also leave here my contact information, reminding you to reach out to us anytime you have questions, can't find something, have a request, or have feedback. We really want to hear from our members all the time because we have constantly made changes to what we do and what we offer based on what we hear from all of you. So it's really important that when you want to and when you're able to, sharing with us and raising your hand, we're always happy to help wherever we can. So I'll just pull up the question box just in case there are any questions. The last thing I'll say, in case no questions come in, we will send a post-event survey after today's webinar, as we do after all of our events. Please let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover today that would be of value, or reach out to me separately. I'm happy to answer any questions or have additional calls with you or your team, if there's a way that we could help to ensure that everyone is as aware as possible of what's available through iHave. We're so excited for you all to be a part of our community and, again, be willing to participate in today's session. It certainly says a lot about what you're looking to accomplish with iHave this year. So we are here to support you and to support that goal. Please let us know how we can best support your team in the new year. And we are so excited to see you at another iHave event, maybe an in-person one, maybe one online. But I expect to see a lot of registrations coming in after today's session, given, if I can get back to my last slide, given this checklist that I just put up. And I do see, Denix, I saw your question about specific supplier benefits. So I will reach out to you and we can set up a time to talk a little bit about this specific to supplier member benefits and how we help to connect our supplier member community as well to in-house agencies, as we're here to support them as well. So thank you, Denixa. Thanks again for everyone for your time. We look forward to hearing from you in the survey, and we certainly look forward to seeing you again. Have a great rest of your day. Happy New Year. I know it's a little belated, but Happy New Year, and look forward to 2024 with all of you. Take care.